Okay, ladies, so let's talk about maximizing your performance with menstrual tracking. So, first of all, what I'd like to say is there is not a one size fits all for women. We are all going to experience different symptoms throughout every single phase of our cycle, but we're going to chat you through some of these phases at the moment and just allow you to understand potential symptoms that you may have so you can optimize your training performance. So, first of all, it's really important that you do track your cycle. And this can be done using apps such as Flo. Doing so can help you understand different phases that your body is going to enter throughout the month, and it will allow for you to understand your symptoms and how to combat these in your training performance. We recognise that every woman's cycle is different. A lot of women have no symptoms. However, some women with PCOS, for example, or PMDD may suffer some more severe symptoms. Okay, so why is it important that we track our cycle? So, unfortunately, during a prep, as females, when we get to super low levels of body fat, unfortunately, we can actually lose our period, and this is called secondary amenorrhea. The reason that we lose our cycle is because the signals from your brain to your ovaries stop. And the reason being is we have a low energy availability and your body is protecting itself. Okay, so we need to understand if you lose your cycle, and that is why it is so important to track this throughout your prep. So, if we understand if you have lost your cycle, this will be your number one priority to regain post show. However, if you are on birth control that actually stops you from getting a physical period, how do you actually know if you have lost your period? So, in our opinion, in our advice, and in our experience, the best way to combat this is being either au natural or potentially using a contraception that still allows for you to have that physical period, such as the copper coil. This again will also allow you to understand your priorities post show, because unfortunately, ignorance is not bliss on this occasion. Okay, so what are the different phases of your cycle throughout the month? So the first phase is your menses phase, and this is where we have that bleed, which typically lasts from day 1 to day 5. So this is where estrogen and progesterone typically drop, and you can experience symptoms such as fatigue, headaches, heavy bleeds, tiredness, cravings, irritability. So how do we combat this? This is when you really want to be a little bit kinder to yourself. You might not be able to hit the PBs in training. You might be a little bit more tired and a little bit more fatigued, and you might have these pangs of hunger. So when it comes to your food, it may be beneficial for you to swap over to low GI foods such as oats and potatoes to make sure that you are a little bit more satiated, and also make sure that you've got your anti-inflammatory supplements in there to make sure that you're combating that overall fatigue. Other anti-inflammatory foods such as salmon and green veggies will also be beneficial to you during this point. But remember, be kind to yourself because you may have a little bit more fatigue than normal. Okay, the next phase we have our follicular phase, which tends to last around day 6 to around day 14. And this is where we tend to see strength on the rise. So here we have a spike in estrogen and a spike in testosterone. So a lot of women actually feel their strongest during training during this time. So if you're on prep during your follicular phase, this might be the time for you to be pushing PBs because your strength is on the high and your recovery is always at its best too. You also have a higher libido, so happy days. Okay, so next we have our ovulation phase, which typically lasts around 2 days, which is about day 14 to day 16. And this is where your reproductive hormones are at the highest and where your hormone LH is released. We tend again to feel the strongest during this time. However, we can then run into symptoms such as headaches, a higher temperature, sore breasts, higher libido. So during this point, again, it's really important that you make sure that you are kind to yourself if you're having these symptoms. Next, we have the luteal phase, which is your last phase of your cycle. So during this time, this is where your body is again starting to get ready for the bleed. So we might feel symptoms such as bloating, cramps, headache, tenderness, soreness, tiredness, fatigue. And again, during this point, it is important to be kind to yourself. So you may have to maybe hit a deload every so often during this period of time. During this period, also with the bloat, this will potentially cause a scale weight increase. But remember, it will be water retention, it's not body fat. So don't lose your head if you see the scales on the increase. This is also a good opportunity for you to catch up on any sleep as your body prepares for the menses phase. Okay, so we've chatted about the phases, and what I want to really make clear to all athletes is there's not a one size fits all. Some women may experience all of these symptoms, and some women may experience none of these symptoms. So, just because Instagram says that you have to back off the gas during your menses phase or your luteal phase doesn't mean that you actually have to do so. If you are backing off the gas when it's unnecessary, then over the course of the year, that can accumulate to around 3 months of the year that you're not actually making progress. So be aware of your own body, be mindful in your own skin, and understand exactly what your body needs during that whole month. But don't just eat the chocolate or back off the gas during these certain phases because Instagram told you to do so. It's your body, it's your rules, and there is no one size fits all on your cycle.